Good afternoon. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Have you eaten? Nakakain na ba kayo? Yeah? Ba? Was it good? Sige. Could you imagine now your food without salt? Diba? Not eating salt. That's why if you're hypertensive, diba? It's like hell eating kasi walang lasa sinasabi nila. Tama ba? And the thing with salt is that it's something that's very important for us, no? Not just human beings, but especially for Filipinos, wherein salt is very important in terms of our taste. Di ba? It's the cornerstone of flavor, no? So, when we consume salt in the Philippines, it's not only salt na asin, but it's used to ferment a lot of things, no? Like our bagoong, no? Our ginamos, no? Our patis. So, when we eat, every time we eat, though our food is already seasoned, gusto pa natin we want an additional salter, which is in the form of a sausawan or a dipping sauce. Tama ba? But are you aware that 75 to 80% of the salt sold in the Philippines right now is imported from Australia and China? Are you aware of that? And in a lot of cases, you remember nung mga, when our generation, probably not your generation, was, when we eat our sinangag, it was just simply sauteing a bit of garlic with some salt, and it was really good. No? Malinamnam siya. It was something that we really enjoyed. However, today, I think you'd have a memory of the sinangag with more seasoning, with more powders and all that. Why is that? Because the salt that we are using right now is not the same salt that we used to use way back then. The salt that reaches the Philippine market is actually mostly industrial salt. Salt that has been purified to a very high level of concentration of sodium. And that is why when they say that salt is dangerous for your health, especially if you are hypertensive, it's because of the high concentration of this sodium. Unlike natural salts, which come from, mostly in the Philippines, from the sea, has a lot of other minerals that not only makes it more healthy, but also makes it more flavorful. So when you eat salt, natural salt, when you savor it, you don't only taste the saltiness, there's a roundness of flavor. Because of calcium, magnesium, zinc, and a lot of other things. And it was very important, even if you say you're hungry, nagugutom ka na ba, and yung kinakain mo was just simply rice with salt, it was a bit nourishing because of the presence of these minerals. Think about that. And I just like to show you a short, documentary.
Pag hindi mo naman lalagyan ng alat ang isang tinapang bangus,
That we did.
masira.
The lower cost of salt is the industrial salt. These are salt that are coming in. Unfortunately, they were able to grind it to look like salt for food, and these are very not healthy.
Dati po, wala kaming hanap buhay. Talagang kinakapuso po sa gastusin. Talagang mahirap ang buhay dati. Sa ngayon po, nakapagtrabaho na po kami dito. Kaya medyo gumanda po ang aming buhay dahil po sa Pacific.
And during the course of our research for doing this salt, we discovered that when you use these chemical salts, when you use these industrial salts in, the fermenting of the bagoong or the patis, it does not work very well. So it ends up smelling like, really awful, something that's almost not good for you. And for me, for someone who is in the culinary world, someone who does research, a lot of research in culinary heritage. Even if I would teach the younger generation, even if I teach my students, even if I teach you to make your bagoong, your buro, or your patis, it would not turn out right. And you will always feel, if you try to do that experiment at home, you would really feel that there is something wrong with you, or there is something that's a problem in the process that you're doing. But it's actually because of the very ingredients that you're using. And for me, I'm talking about salt right now as a starting point. But imagine if we are totally dependent in terms of salt production, no? Salt supply from China and Australia. Imagine what other foods we are dependent on other countries for. Right now, there's a shortage of bawang or garlic. We also have a shortage of rice. And imagine what sort of society do we have right now that we are dependent on other countries, even simply for our meals. Here, a lot of you students of UP, nagugutom ba kayo dito? Diba? Do you experience hunger? Yes. But do you know that when you eat, especially in a society like this, wherein we do not really cultivate our own food, you're also eating things that are not really food. Food na hindi food. Non-food food. So, generally, think about it. The majority of the things you put in your mouth and in your stomach are actually industrial products that have found applications in food. Imagine every single thing you put into your mouth in the last few days. How many of them were real food? How many of them were organic? Not organic in the sense in a fancy way that you're buying organic food. Something that is real, something that really comes from this earth. Just like, for example, a lot of you love cheese, tama ba? We love cheese. But the sort of cheese that is sold in the Philippines isn't actually cheese. They're actually what you call chemistry, because real cheese just comes from 4 ingredients. Milk, diba? Salt, a bit of flavoring, and But all the things that you're eating, the most popular brand of Filipino cheese does not contain milk at all. In the same way that the patis that we buy in the market almost does not have patis in it. You read closely, you read patis flavor. You read all the brands do not sell the real things that they say it is. So when you're reading food labels and say nature identical flavor, it's different from natural. It's nature identical. So it could be a chemical that tastes like a fruit. No? It could be a chemical that tastes like meat. That's why I'm sure you guys are one of the biggest consumers of cup noodles and all that. And if you have it for breakfast this morning, sa gabi pwede ka na magkanin na just eat rice. Kasi if you burp, you still have the taste of that instant noodle. Tama? Why is that? Why is that? It's because the oil, the oils that they put into these ingredients are not organic oils. They're not real. They're not real flavoring. So they coat the lining of your digestive tract. So here in the Philippines, we have people who are really hungry because they don't have access to food. But we also have people who are hungry because they are not eating the right food. They are eating things that they think is food, but it's not actually food. I went to this seminar one time. We love siomai, don't we? Yes. Oh, yes, we love siomai. And I went to this seminar, livelihood seminar, and they say, with your capital of 1 kilo of pork, you will be able to make 130 pieces of siomai. Imagine, 1 kilo of pork to 130 pieces of siomai. So, if you're eating a siomai that big, imagine how many percent of that is pork and how many percent of that is I don't know what. It's something to worry about. We have livelihood seminars that tell us to make certain concentrated drinks with artificial, artificial flavors and all that. And that has become part of our diet. And, for me, for a chef who really focuses on, Filipino food, it's really something that, that makes me worry. Especially right now, I have I've heard my niece and my nephew were trying to let them eat dishes like as simple as champurrado or, or dinengden. Yuck! We have lost the integrity and the respect for real food. How many of you eat real food? How many of you have the appetite to see a vegetable and say, oh, I'd like to eat that? I think probably half of you guys don't even know the names of these vegetables. So, it's really so much of a worry. And right now, especially for a chef, we play a very important role. It's very fancy to be in the culinary world. It's very fancy to be, doing gourmet stuff. I had the chance to represent the country in Madrid Fusion. And I cooked for some of the richest families in Spain, and they were so impressed with my cooking. So, wow, Filipino food is the next big thing. You've heard that? You've heard that? But I was so ashamed because almost all of the ingredients I used to cook these dishes were imported from other countries. Calamansi from Vietnam, rice from Thailand, bamboo shoots from Cambodia. And are we promoting our cuisine to be actually eaten by the Filipinos? Or are we promoting it just to tell people that, oh, we're also as talented as you, but our people go hungry? That's why when a lot of people ask me, what is Filipino food to you? For me, Filipino food, being a chef, I say, Filipino food is what the Filipino eats. How many of you eat adobo foie gras at home? Pancit palabok with truffles. Do you? We do at home. So, it isn't real. For me, food of a country, food of a culture, is really reflective of what is available, What is grown in your land, what is harvested from your sea. Isipin natin yon. Di ba? We should take pride in that. And dati, when we were younger of a certain generation, you would react to what was available in the market. So you see a beautiful fish, a lapu-lapu, a maya-maya, whatever. And even if you cook it in the same way every day, sinigang, kinilaw, inihaw, tinola, it would taste different because we had different vegetables, we had different fish used in making that soup or that dish. So, the lapu-lapu na sinigang would taste different from the sinigang na bangus, right? But what are we eating right now? How many of us survive with cream dory from Vietnam? Think about that. And for us to be truly independent as a nation, we have to make sure that every single Filipino can eat. I have this from the priority commodities from the Department of Agriculture. And we see a lot of these products, though it's very good for our country in terms of our economy, to be able to share it worldwide, but nothing really here is something that we consume always. It doesn't create the balance. So, Filipino chefs are being presented the opportunity to be able to educate ourselves about the biodiversity of our country. I go around the country to learn regional dishes. Why do I do that? Not because I want to exoticize. Wow, I've eaten tamilok in Palawan. I've eaten, the crickets in Pampanga. I've eaten all these things. But to be able to learn the technology and the traditions of these regions for us to be able to help cut hunger in the country. Do you know that in Iloilo, People eat the trunk of the banana. Do you know that? It's called ubad. They make it into a vegetable. In some areas, they use the leaves of the cassava or the kamoting kahoy to make a vegetable and cook it like laing. It's not really about exoticizing these ingredients, but being able to teach other regions, the rest of the Filipinos, on how to cook these ingredients so that a lot of more people will be able to cook and utilize the food resources we have available to us. There is a lot that can be done. But if we do not use our influence, and if we do not use our ability to be creative, to be innovative, what will happen? In the next few years, we will see that a lot of Filipinos will go hungry. We will gain more dependency on other countries for our food supply. Agricultural development in the country is geared towards big business. And if we do not change the dynamics of how things are run, it's going to be really, really scary. If you look at the map of Mindanao, you will see that agricultural production is really extensive all over. We have some of the biggest farms in the country in Mindanao. But look what is happening. There's a great rate of dissatisfaction. There is a higher percentage of malnutrition and hunger where there are the biggest output of agricultural goods. We see truckloads of bananas being thrown away because they don't want it to reach the local market because it will bring down the prices. Hindi totoong maraming dapat magutom sa Pilipinas because there is a lot that can feed the Filipinos. What we lack are the values that will allow us to become more generous with each other. And just to leave you with a note, countries do not need to export food to one another. I had this conversation with this chef and he told me that, all we have to do is share our technology and share our know-how. And for a country like the Philippines with great soil, great weather, so much seas around us, there's no reason that we can make a sustainable country. And just to end, eating local is a political act. If we scrutinize every single thing that we buy, every single thing that we consume, our economy will change. We will determine what the big stores will sell. We will determine what the big farmers will plant if we refuse to continue to consume trash in our diets. So, thank you very much, and I hope you got something from my talk.